In the bustling heart of the city, where luxury cars roared past and glass towers kissed the sky, lived a man named Mr. Langston. He was the embodiment of success, a self-made millionaire, owner of one of the biggest real estate companies in the region. He wore suits that cost more than some people's yearly salaries and dined at restaurants where a single plate could feed a family for a week. Everyone knew his name. Everyone feared his decisions. But no one truly knew his heart. Across the city, in the forgotten alleyways where sunlight barely reached, lived a young boy named Samir. Just 9 years old, he had already seen more hunger, pain, and cruelty than most would in a lifetime. His father had died in a factory accident when Samir was 5, and his mother had fallen ill shortly after. Unable to afford treatment, she stayed bedridden, while Samir became the caretaker, the breadwinner, and the only light in her dim world. Every morning before sunrise, Samir would slip on his worn-out slippers, grab the little cloth bag he stitched himself, and head out. He collected empty bottles, plastic wrappers, and scraps, whatever he could find to sell. Some days he earned enough for a small meal, other days he went to sleep with only water. But he never complained. His mother's smile was enough for him. One freezing winter afternoon, Samir was wandering near the city center, hoping tourists had left behind cans or water bottles. That day was colder than usual, and the chill bit through his thin shirt. He saw a crowd gathered near a coffee shop. A man had collapsed on the street. He rushed over, pushing through the legs of strangers, and saw a frail, old man lying on the cold pavement, gasping for air. People stood and watched, filming with their phones or whispering, but no one stepped forward. "Someone help him!" Samir cried. "He needs a doctor." But people turned their heads. No one wanted to get involved. Just then, a black Mercedes pulled up. Out stepped Mr. Langston, looking irritated. He saw the scene, frowned, and walked over. "Do you know who this man is?" he asked a bystander. "No idea." "Just some homeless guy," someone replied. Mr. Langston scoffed. "Call an ambulance if you want. I don't have time for this nonsense." "But sir, he could die," Samir said, his voice trembling. Mr. Langston glanced down at the boy, then at the man on the ground. "He's not my responsibility," he said coldly and walked into the coffee shop, ignoring the dying man's pleas. Samir looked around. No one was moving. Everyone just watched. Tears welled in Samir's eyes. He knelt beside the old man and held his hand. "Don't worry, sir. I'll get help," he whispered. He had no phone. No money. But he had courage. He sprinted 2 blocks to the local clinic, burst in and shouted, "Please! There's an old man on the street. He's not breathing right." The nurse hesitated. "Where is he?" "Just near the coffee shop." "Please come." Seeing his desperation, a young doctor grabbed his coat. "Let's go." They returned to find the man barely conscious. The doctor checked his pulse and immediately called for an ambulance. Samir held the man's hand the entire time, whispering, "You're gonna be okay. Stay with me." As the paramedics arrived and took the man away, the doctor looked at Samir. "You did a brave thing, kid. What's your name?" "Samir." "You saved his life, Samir." He smiled faintly. "I just did what I hoped someone would do for my mother." The crowd dispersed. Mr. Langston walked out of the coffee shop with a cup in hand, passed Samir without a glance, and drove off. That night, Samir returned home with only a half-eaten sandwich he'd found in a trash bin. He gave it to his mother, telling her he'd already eaten. She didn't believe him, but she was too weak to argue. A week passed. Samir had almost forgotten about the old man. But fate hadn't. One evening, as he was sorting bottles near a grocery store, a sleek car pulled up beside him. A well-dressed man stepped out. It was the doctor from that day. "Samir," he called out. "I've been looking for you." Samir stood up, startled. "Me?" "Yes. The man you saved, he's awake. He wants to meet you." Samir hesitated. "Is he okay?" "He's recovering, thanks to you." Come on, I'll take you to the hospital. Nervously, Samir climbed into the car. When he reached the hospital, he was guided into a private room. There, lying on the bed, was the old man, cleaned up, no longer gasping for breath. His eyes lit up when he saw Samir. You saved me." "I just got help," Samir replied shyly. The old man chuckled weakly. "And that saved my life. What's your name, son?" "Samir." "Samir, you have a heart bigger than this whole city." "I'm Mr. Donnelly. I used to be a teacher. Lost my family. Lost my job. Lost everything. And that day, I was ready to give up. But you didn't," Samir said. "You're still here." Mr. Donnelly smiled. "Because of you." The doctor stood quietly, then handed Mr. Donnelly a paper. "You're being discharged next week, Mr. Donnelly." "I have nowhere to go," he whispered. Samir looked at him and said, "You can come stay with me. We don't have much, but we have a roof." The doctor was stunned. "You're offering your home?" Samir nodded. He shouldn't be alone. Tears welled in Mr. Donnelly's eyes. A week later, Mr. Donnelly moved into Samir's small room. He met Samir's mother and helped care for her. He even started tutoring children in the neighborhood for free, slowly rebuilding his confidence in life. Word spread about the boy who saved a man's life. A local journalist picked up the story and published an article titled "The Boy with Nothing Who Gave Everything." It went viral. One day, Mr. Langston saw the article on his phone. He scoffed at first until he saw the photo. It was the same boy who had begged him to help that day. He paused. Something tugged at his conscience. The next morning, he asked his assistant to find the boy and bring him to his office. When Samir arrived, he stood nervously in front of Mr. Langston's massive desk. "You're the boy from the article," Mr. Langston said. "Yes, sir." "You embarrassed me. You made it look like I walked away while you saved the day." "You did walk away, sir," Samir replied honestly. Mr. Langston was taken aback by the honesty. "I didn't mean to embarrass you. I just couldn't leave him there." Mr. Langston stared at the boy. "What do you want?" "Nothing. I didn't do it to get anything." That answer shook Mr. Langston more than anything else. He leaned back. "Tell me about your life." Samir explained everything: his mother, his daily work, Mr. Donnelly living with them, and their struggles. Mr. Langston was quiet for a long time. Then he stood up. "I want to help," he said. "But I don't need help anymore, sir. Mr. Donnelly is helping me study now. We're doing okay." "No. You deserve more than okay." Over the next few weeks, Mr. Langston visited Samir's neighborhood multiple times. He funded Samir's education, got his mother medical treatment, and offered Mr. Donnelly a permanent job as a community teacher in one of his company's outreach programs. But it didn't stop there. Inspired by Samir's act, Mr. Langston started a foundation in Samir's name, the Samir Kindness Initiative, to help street children and the elderly who had no support. Shelters were built. Free clinics were opened. And across the city, people began to look at kindness differently. All because a poor child did the unthinkable when a rich man turned away. Years passed. Samir grew up, graduated with honors, and eventually took over the foundation himself. Mr. Langston, who had once believed only in profits, often said Samir taught him the true meaning of wealth. One day, at a grand event honoring unsung heroes, Samir stood on stage and said, "Kindness doesn't need a bank account. It only needs a heart." The audience rose in applause, not because a millionaire was speaking, but because a little boy who once had nothing showed the world that humanity still existed. And somewhere in that crowd, an old man wiped a tear, remembering the day a 9-year-old boy knelt beside him on a cold pavement and refused to let him die alone. Because that's what real heroes do. Thank you for watching this powerful story.